much, Ebime Amalola, and I'm really glad that you're taking part in this online seminar. Well, I understand from experience what it means to grow in a dysfunctional family. Yes, I know what it means. And I keep wondering where my life would have ended if not for the grace of God. I know firsthand what the effects of growing in a dysfunctional family could be. They are so numerous, and I'm going to be talking about all of those things in this seminar. I have divided this seminar into 3 parts. So you have 3-part videos. But in this first part, we'll be talking about the dysfunctional family and the key players in a dysfunctional family. What is a dysfunctional family? We need to understand what it is. Because if you don't know what the wrong is, you might not know what the right is. So, what is a dysfunctional family? In trying to describe this, I believe that if we know what a functional or an ideal family is, we'll be able to grasp a correct picture of what a dysfunctional family is. So I would be talking about or trying to describe what a functional or an ideal family is. First, I need you to understand that God is the author of the family. He's the one that originated the idea of the family. The concept of family came from God. So, in essence, whatever or whichever way we're trying to describe what an ideal family is, it has to stem out from God's picture of what the family is. So, what does an ideal family look like? Now, in an ideal family, there's a display of unconditional love. I need you to take note of that. Unconditional. In an ideal family, all parties are giving 100%. Everyone is giving love without expecting anything back. You're not giving love because you expect something back. In an ideal family, both parties, I'm talking about the husband and the wife, they both love each other unconditionally from their hearts, not because of what they will get from their partner, not because of what they are expecting, but because they have chosen to love. As a matter of fact, the Bible makes us realize that God is love, and once there is God in the hearts of the parties involved, there is no way it won't be easy for them to give unconditional love. So that is one characteristic of an ideal family. There is an expression of unconditional love in such a family. In an ideal family, peace abides there. There is a kind of family that everyone is glad to go back home. I remember back in the day, myself and some other people that I knew were in my shoes. When it's during the semester, you won't find us going home. What are we going to look for at home? We don't go home. In fact, it was so bad that I have colleagues that wouldn't even go home during the holidays. Well, thank God for my mother, who always encouraged us to at least just come home, show us love and try to teach us verbally what an ideal home was supposed to look like, okay? But in an ideal home, there's peace. Peace abides there, and everybody loves to be at home. In that kind of home, people want to go out and they are eager to come back home. Then apart from that, the feelings of everyone in such an ideal family is taken into consideration. You don't place the value, the needs of one person ahead of the other all the time. There are times you have to make sacrifices, but when it becomes one-sided, you're always concerned about the feeling of one person in the union, then there is a problem somewhere. There is a question mark on that family. So in an ideal family, the feelings of everyone, note everyone, is taken into consideration. Then in an ideal family, family members support each other. They support each other. All hands are always on deck to see that every person's goal is met or every person's goal is reached. There is a deep sense of belonging and fulfillment in every member of the family. So in an ideal family, everyone is happy. Everyone is happy. we look out for each other in an ideal family. The husband looks out for the good of the wife. The wife looks out for the good of the husband. Not that the husband is always seeking that, oh, my needs must be met, my goals must be achieved. I don't care about my wife's goals or visions or anything like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should be a balanced thing. That's what makes it an ideal family. So, in any family environment that you find anything contrary to what I have just described, you know that it is abnormal. It is not an ideal family. Then there is something wrong. There's something missing that has to be found. So what are the key players in the family? You know that if we go back to our social studies, we'll remember what a family is. Okay, it comprises of what? Father, mother, and their children, right? So but when it comes to having a dysfunctional family, the key players are actually the parents, the father and the mother, the husband and the wife. They are the key players. And what applies to one dysfunctional family might not apply to another dysfunctional family, in the sense that in certain dysfunctional families, both heads are sick, while in some, just one head is bad, while the other is relatively good or good. All right, so it comes in different shapes and sizes, in different packages, these dysfunctional families. So basically, what are the characteristics of a dysfunctional family? I'm going to mention about 7 characteristics of a dysfunctional family, because when you don't know what the problem is, you might not know that you need to seek solutions. So I need to describe to you what a dysfunctional family really looks like. So number 1, in a dysfunctional family, there will be constant fights and negative criticism, constant fights, almost no moment of peace, almost everyday argument, conflicts every time. Now, don't get me wrong, it's normal to have conflicting ideologies. It's normal to have varying concepts running through your minds. You don't have to agree over everything. But if you are in a family where resolving these issues become so difficult, then there is a problem somewhere. So in a dysfunctional family, in an unideal family, there are constant fights and negative criticisms. That's number 1. Number 2, there will be holding of grudges and unforgiveness inherent in the hearts of people that live in a dysfunctional family. Unforgiveness. He offended me yesterday, he offended me 10 years ago, he offended me 2 years ago, and then there is this pile up, and that is a big issue. Keep referring to things that have gone on or that went wrong, maybe months back, years back, days back, over and over, bringing them back, over and over. Now the thing is, in an ideal family, one important virtue that the key players must have is forgiveness, the heart of forgiveness, because we are coming from 2 different backgrounds. I'm talking about the husband and the wife. You are coming from 2 different backgrounds. You can have the same ideology every time. It is not possible. And you're going to offend each other. Even if you're twins, even if you were twins, there are times you won't agree with each other, but you have to learn to forgive. So you have to constantly forgive. So in a dysfunctional family, that is not applicable. Then thirdly, domestic abuse. Fights, throwing things at each other, shouting at each other, verbal abuse, bringing the other party down, emotional abuse, physical abuse, all forms of abuse that you can think about. Financial abuse, economic abuse. Some of us grew up knowing that that our mothers were being suppressed financially. They have to practically beg, especially if they did not have their own solid sources of income. And I think that was one thing that really helped me as a person, helped us as a family. The fact that my mother was able to make some money, because if it was left to how the whole thing was going, she would have been abused financially, economically, and we would have suffered from it. So abuse, all forms of abuse. Then number 4, feelings of loneliness. There are some couples that they're actually living under the same roof, but they don't even talk to each other. They don't have anything in common. Feelings of loneliness. Everyone is just on his own. And that brings me to the next point, lack of unity. Each spouse does his own thing, and that is where you find out, or you have heard of cases where the husband would have finished building a whole house. I mean, you build a whole house and your wife is not even aware. Like, who does that? That is not ideal. It is not ideal. We come together. You're supposed to come together and do stuff together. You just come from nowhere and you say, oh, I bought a land like 5 years ago and I'll be building it, and okay, so the house is ready. And you expect everybody to be happy, right? No, I don't think that is normal. Okay, so there is lack of unity. And let me just point out here that in an ideal situation, when there is unity, progress occurs faster. And then the next thing is selfish behaviors. Selfish behaviors, always fighting for himself, always fighting for herself. Hi. In an unideal family, it's about me, the me factor, the high factor. And then number 7, finally, exhibition of unhealthy behaviors, unhelpful behaviors. So many things, like gambling. Okay, you find your father probably gambling away all the resources he should have used to take care of the family. Alcohol or drug abuse. There are people that grew up in such families, maybe where the mothers will drink themselves to stupor. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, extramarital affairs. There are people that grew up in families where they knew that their fathers were cheating on their mothers, or their mothers were cheating on their fathers. Okay, so all these unhelpful behaviors are the order of the day in such families. So why is it important to look at this subject matter of the dysfunctional family? Why? Well, overall, children suffer the most in dysfunctional families. It's been proven. And the kind of homes they are raised in can end up affecting the kind of spouses or parents they become in future. So it's like we keep, a vicious cycle of dysfunctional families. You're raised in a dysfunctional family, there is that high tendency that you will also end up building a dysfunctional family. And that is why I am looking at this subject matter and looking at how we can propose solution to this issue of having dysfunctional families all over the place. And truth be told, we have so many. It's really sad, and it's affecting children. It keeps affecting them. It starts affecting them right from childhood, and they grow up into teenagehood. It's, their lives have been formed around seeing dysfunctional marriages, seeing dysfunctional relationships, and it ends up affecting the kinds of people, the kind of adults that they grew up into. I hope you join me on the second video, where I'll be talking about the effects on the children.